to the road to growth, success of an entrepreneur.
We've raised the bar.
Learn firsthand from successful business owners and create your own path to success.
I'm going to show you how great I am.
It's time to hit the road to growth with team lead of the Enriquez Group, Realtor Vinny.
Hi, you Road to Growth listeners. Today I have Maša. She is a business fixer and solution designer. Thank you, Maša, for being here. Second time's the charm.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, so you help help businesses. I think mostly kind of a focus on women-based businesses and helping them kind of grow. Out of curiosity, why do you have a more of a hyper focus on women-based businesses compared to men-based businesses?
Because myself, I was in the corporate world for over 15 years, and then I had a break in my career because I had small kids. And actually, I see a lot of women who do that, and that's why I'm coming also from my own experience and how it happened to me. I would like to support women entrepreneurs, especially the ones that have that break or now they're searching a little bit how to go back into the world. And majorly these are women who had big careers before and, just stop it for their personal life. And that's why I want to empower women to go back to their business path.
You're based out of Europe, right? Do you feel that there's a difference of how men started businesses compared to women started businesses? The perception outside looking in for a woman to start their own business, is there a difference, or is it pretty on the same level, or how does that look out there?
Well, usually what I encounter is more, men do it for more different reasons, I would say. For women, what I see, it often happens that when we change, when we transform from single to having a family, then we have to juggle our life a little bit differently, and then we set our priorities differently. Then we could also, many women see that they were actually not so happy in their corporate world, or they want to do very different things that they did before. And that's why I feel it is a different thing, how it all starts.
So the perception of a man started business compared to a woman started business, there's nothing on the same level. I mean, I know, here it seems, at least in the United States, where it's a lot easier, I think, for both sides, for a woman. I think it's becoming the norm. It doesn't really matter if it's a woman started business or a man started business. I've heard, at least from a couple of different people overseas, that perception is not fully on the same level yet. And I don't know, being that you're in that field, do you feel that there's any kind of negative, positive on either ends of the spectrum? That makes sense?
It makes sense. I would just say also it happens for the men and women, we start for maybe different reasons. Mm-hmm. And maybe women, we are maybe a bit more pushed into it.
Okay.
With the way our lives are going, and also men they're braver. Where you guys are braver when starting out something than women, and that's why I also feel women need a little bit more support. In when to start, how to start, understand that we can do this. Yeah. I think here can be also like a very big difference: bravery and trusting in yourself.
That makes sense. I mean, it's the idea of making the plunge compared to getting pushed into the water. No, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
For yourself, was for a young Maša, what was she like? Was she an entrepreneur? Was she basically more kind of trying to help people out, or who was a young Maša?
Oh, I was. I always liked to work. I was very ambitious. I was very ambitious, curious. And I always like challenges. So when I got a job in corporate banking as a relationship banker, it was a great thing for me because I got to work with so many different people, so many different businesses. My learning curve was super fast. I really enjoyed it. And I also got promoted really quickly. So, it was always something happening, something developing. But I think like 5 years down the road in banking environment, I started thinking already about consultancy business. I was thinking I could do more of consultancy. I could have a bit of a greater impact, greater support for the entrepreneurs because of everything that I was also learning in the banking world. But then I moved, and when I was moving countries, it was not possible to also move the industry, right? So I stayed in banking. And that was a little bit what was I always felt quite entrepreneurial, and then things were changing in the banking world, so there are more and more boxes, so we couldn't really do things the same way. So I felt like I would like to exit, but there was no chance for me because of moving countries.
When you're talking about banking, what were the individuals that you're mostly helping? Was it just on what their finances were? Were people looking to start their own business? What kind of individuals were you mostly working with in the banking sector?
Yeah, because I'm Slovenian, and I worked in Slovenia. Slovenia is a small country in the midst of Europe with 2 million people. So I was working, and we were calling them small, medium, and big sized enterprises, but they were actually not that big, right? Because they were from Slovenia. But still, I was working majorly with CFOs of companies or financial directors. So I was indeed on the side of, let's say, finances, but because I was a relationship banker, what was the thing is that we had to know the financials and analytical part plus all the rest, because when you were funding, when you're giving funds, whatever, you need to know how the whole company operates. So that's why I got this objective view over companies, how they work, what they do. It's not purely financial part that you look at it when you're extending a loan to someone.
Now, seeing the financials, seeing how they're doing business, in being that you're the relationship and you're focused on the financials with an entrepreneur mindset, like you said, were there any times you're just like, oh my gosh, I feel they could probably do this a little bit better, or oh my goodness, I wish I could help them out right here in parts that weren't part of your job description? Did that ever come about when you're working with these individuals?
Yeah, of course. I mean, all the time. It was always this thing like, oh Jesus, if you were just a little bit more organized, or if you could just understand which people you need to hire, because, or just get yourself some more clarity and focus on the niche. There are many things like that you see from the outside, and that's why I feel I can call myself the business fixer, because I can very, very quickly see what's happening inside the company, and especially when people are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, they don't have the board of directors that they can talk to, right? So it's very beneficial to have an extra pair of eyes on their business and discuss major decisions. So.
How did you understand the boundaries of what you can say and what you couldn't say? Was it fairly easy? Was it something that you internally knew, or is it trial and error?
I have a pretty high intuition, so for me it's very internally what I can say and what I cannot say. It's just that people, I'm a very good listener, and people always told me a lot of things. So it was sometimes more difficult to say, to differentiate. Like I didn't need to know that when I was banker, but you learn how not to say everything that comes to your mind, right?
And so you have this idea of entrepreneur mindset, yet you're seeing basically the taste of it. How were these interactions with these companies feeding your idea of starting your own business?
Yeah, because I always also felt I could do more. I like to help people. I'm very solutions oriented, and I always felt I could do more to support. So from that part, I was always feeling like being in banking, I cannot really do that. I always knew I could I could do more, I could help more, I could support more. So I think I just needed that time to pass, and then I had to find my place in another country, and that I could decide to start my own business.
You said it before about the idea that a lot of women get pushed into entrepreneurship compared to jumping into entrepreneurship. So did you jump into it, or were you pushed into it?
I jumped, and maybe pushed into it is not really the right word, how I would say, but it's just that because the life is changing for women a bit more than for men when they establish family, you get to think about your life more, and you try to find ways how to maybe do something that you love more that you did. If women don't have the really big wish to go back into their previous job setups, right? So maybe just that's why I thought pushed. For me, it was more jumped, but I thought about it for a very long time because knowing what I know about businesses, a lot of things I can predict, and I really didn't want to start something that I cannot continue and grow. So I had to come up with a very clear vision for myself and in what way to help, because I didn't see myself as a business mentor or a business coach. So I had to find this like consultancy way, and in a way how I can really help and what could be my added value, compared to, because every coach, every mentor, they all have great things to offer, right? But I needed to find what is my way, my niche, or how I can help. And for me, it's really more that I can really quickly see and I can offer easy implementable solutions that can be done right away. And it's not like through the really whole programming or the mentorship programs. So that was my way. I needed to understand where is my strongest point and how I can really support women in progressing.
So is your vision more of assessing the business than assessing the person? Is that, or am I getting that wrong? You said mindset. You said something about, well, not really the mindset, but looking at their paperwork, their information, and figure it out strategies for their business. And so is that kind of the vision, or how would you describe your vision for your company?
Oh, my vision for a company. For me, it's like I want to tune into the person and their business, because it's very important that person runs the business according to their personality. Because if you push somebody who's not very organized into something very organized box business, it will fail, right? People always need to find their way in running their business so that they bring the best out of themselves from their core business. What I want to help them is to have all the other non-core business things of their business done, if it makes sense, in a way that supports their core business. So that's why I don't want to run programs. I want to work with people one-on-one, so that, because everybody's are specific, and I want to help them be unstuck in a way that they see how they can run their business in a way that fits them.
Okay. How long did it take you to understand your vision for your company?
I would say most likely a year. I was really digging in hard and drafted a lot of things on how to support, basically, because I, coming from my background, I know a lot of things, right? So it was really and then understanding that there has to be a niche in a way to help people and make yourself the person to go to. Where do I go? What do I do? But then if I focus only on one part of the business, then I'm excluding everything else that I can offer. So that's why I more focused on this easy implementable solutions for any kind of business, because that's what I can do. And then I don't implement things, but what I can do, once they go through this process of clarity and being unstuck with me, I can guide them and refer them to other people who will dig deeper with either with the mindset or with the money issues, or with the messaging, whatever. So there are that they're more specialized in specific topics.
So it took you about a year to kind of put a vision together, a game plan. How long before that was just the idea born?
That I'm telling you, the idea was there since my mid-20s. Like as of, it was always the way that I want to do something. I want to consult. That was always part of me. So I felt like that everything I did in my corporate life was leading me here, in a way, right? So.
What do you think? And I know you talked about the idea that you moved and that kind of pushed off the transition. Was that the biggest thing, or one of the only things that held back on the delay of starting your own company?
Yeah, I believe so. But I moved twice, and I had family in between. So that was actually this is how my life was going, because I moved from Slovenia to the Netherlands, and then we moved to Switzerland, where we still live. And because I had very small kids at the time, I couldn't start something right away. So the idea was always at the back of my head, but then it started growing and growing. And then for 1 year, I was really actively working on vision before I started. In between, I was always consulting, actually, everybody around me.
So you were already kind of doing the work before you had the idea of what you were going to do?
Yeah, because it's for me, it's like whenever somebody's starting the business and it was close to me in a way, like a colleague, friend, whatever, I was always there to support, right? And
I think for a lot of people, coaches, consultants, individuals that are giving help in that kind of sense and kind of going into it, the idea of how to monetize your practice can be a difficult one for people. When you're first kind of giving advice, giving feedback, helping with the consulting, were you charging at that time, or what was the transition like when you actually started charging those people for the work?
When I started charging, when I formally established my business. Before, I was just working for free. Yeah, because it was everything more friendly based, but still I was, yeah.
And how did you come across your pricing? How did you come to realize what to charge?
That was difficult, yeah, but that's why I hired coaches because all the coaches, everybody has coaches, and I realized that one, and I tried to, when trying to evaluate my services, I really relied on coaches, and then the network I had to see how to price that one out.
What was the feedback? Was there like, so for someone listening right now and they're thinking about the idea of what to charge for their product, was there a roadmap? Was there a game plan? Was there a conversation that you and your coaches went through to get you to self-realize what to charge?
Yeah, well, maybe roadmap, maybe the whole process of how to establish it. For me, what was the most important is that when you say high ticket, VIP ticket is not actually something that is super priced and not accessible, but it means something that when you work with somebody one-on-one and go very deep, that's what it's called a high ticket. And that's what I had to internalize first. And then second thing is that I really had to feel comfortable in myself what to charge. So I was running prices through myself. And then when I felt comfortable and my coaches were not happy with my prices, they would say, like, you should go higher. But for me, it was more important that I feel comfortable with. And then that's how I set up my prices.
Makes sense. If we're talking, Maša, in let's say 5 years from now, where would you be? Where would your company be?
I would have a very steady flow of referral-based clients, and and I'm seriously, I would not need to advertise myself because they would just come knocking, and that's about it. Yeah, I'm not having this really high expectations of growing business and employing other people. I would like to run it myself. I'm not thinking about programs. I would just really like to go one-on-one and have really quality service when supporting women entrepreneurs.
And I'll finish off with this question. I mean, I've had a lot of people that I'm on here when they transition into entrepreneurship, right? That transition can be rocky with their family if their family is not fully on board, or their support system, even friends, I mean, whoever it might be, is not fully on board. What's your trust system around or your family, your friends? How do they perceive basically the transition you've had into this career?
Well, I'm lucky. I have very big support within my family, and I mean, everybody's really happy with me transitioning into this one. Because I run my own time. That's important. And as of friends, everybody was always just like, what are you waiting for? You know, it's, yeah. So for me, I can really say my support system is really good, and it helps, obviously.
Well, especially because you've had that, I guess, that mindset of doing the transition for such a long period of time, that probably your friends are like, oh my gosh, Marsha, you keep talking about, let's do this. Let's get you out there.
Let's do this. Let's do this. It was about time, right?
What, if someone's listening right now and they have a business or an idea of a business and they're looking to grow, expand, and they need someone like yourself, what's the best way of them reaching out to you, finding more about your company? What's the best way, Marsha?
I have my internet page. It's my website, and it's called businessbrainstormingmentor.com, and they can just book a chat with me. It's a clarity chat where we establish if we are a good fit, and I tell them how I can support them, or they can just DM me on Facebook. It's very easy.
Perfect. And all Marsha's information is in the show notes. So go find it right there. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe, please share. And then again, thank you, Marsha, for being here. Have a great one.
Thanks for having me. It was very fun.